cloud.
So hi everybody, welcome to our December meeting, such as it is. You guys will have to do the talking. I'm as prepared as not. Um, let's start with approving the minutes from November.
I'll make a
Um,
motion. It looked good to me.
okay. Yeah, I was looking for you, Joe. I didn't see if you logged on. Do we have a second to approve the minutes? Anybody? All right, I'll second.
Second,
Yeah.
sorry, bro. I was trying to find the unmute button.
And I wasn't there, so I didn't feel that I should be approving something I wasn't there to hear.
Yeah, no, that's true. All right. All in favor of approving the November minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Then the minutes are approved. See what else we have here. Joe, you got the treasurer
Yep.
report, right?
Yep. As of right now, we've got $21,797 remaining in our budget.
Okay, yeah, we haven't spent anything last month. Okay, yeah, and I don't have anything new to add for chairman report. Like I said, this is the December is the worst month. I've missed a lot of things. I'm just kind of overwhelmed. Update on businesses. You saw the mailing. We have 3 new certification of adoption of trade name, Lazarus Manual Therapy. It's a massage therapist. And Precision Asphalt Maintenance, they do asphalt paving and maintenance. And CORAT is a pest control company. You all got those, right?
Yep, got them.
Okay. TBA membership is 71 this month. We lost 2, gained 1. I don't know. I mean, it looks like the Thompson Pizza Company is not opened yet. I haven't seen it open.
I thought somebody said it after the first of the year.
Right, I think Sandy said that because she talked to Gino.
Okay.
They were
But
advertising for staff
yeah,
recently, so they probably just haven't hired up yet.
hey, and I haven't seen anything else open or close in the last month. Oh well, one thing we're on the way to actually having a B clef. I talk about it, every month at the TBA meeting, but got my first signed up job, so we may finally change B Tech services over to B clef music. Uh, but
You should change the name anyway. I mean, just start going with it. You know what I mean?
well, it's me, Dan. It's I talked to Tara about music things. I'm not the same. I'm a very low confidence person. I can't tell you I do a good job. You have to tell me I did a good job. And that's how I
Okay.
was with BTech Services. All those years, I never said I'm better than this guy. No, I let people talk about me at the auto auctions and stuff, and then they would call. And that's just the way I am. Not a great business person that way. But I had a really good opening last night, and from that I got hired. So anyway,
Right.
TBA, the elections are coming up in January. We
Yep.
have yeah, we have a winter mixer coming up in January.
On the 28th.
It is on the 28th because we had a choice of 2 dates.
we wanted to do the 21st, but the hosts couldn't be there for the 21st, so she asked to push it out a week.
Yeah, that's the nail salon.
Correct.
Okay, and yeah, Dan talked to me, wanted to bring up that budget request again. And while we're on TBA, we might as well do that here
Cool.
if
All right.
you want to.
Yeah, definitely. I'll try to make it quick. So I mean, Brian and Brian. Well, first, before we even, has anybody talked to Charlie?
I haven't seen Charlie.
I mean, he was such a active participant in this group, and now he's been MIA for months.
That's what I
Like-
said last month. I keep meaning to reach out to make sure he's okay.
How about you, Tara? Have you heard of, or has he talked to you, Tara?
No, I think he is spending a lot of time online lately.
Mhm.
I haven't seen him in an age.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
active on Facebook, but I haven't seen him. He hasn't attended the last the last Trails meeting anyway. He wasn't there, but that's every other month. I think he was there at the one before that.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, we haven't seen him in 3 months or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Dan said, it was not any reason other than the fact that he was so active. We just want to make sure he's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just curious. But that reminded me because I first presented this idea to the group back in July, and nobody was here. It was me,
Right.
Brian, and Joanne, and that was it. And even Tira, I think, was on vacation or something that week, and so Amy was sitting in. But I don't think she was even like really paying attention. She was just there. She was just on because when I tried to talk to her, she didn't hear me. So anyway, I wanted an opportunity to present this because when I presented it to Brian and Joanne, they thought it was a great idea. And so I'll start out with the different business associations. If do you guys specifically Brian and Brian, as I know, well, Brian, I'm sorry, but there's 3 Brians.
You got them all
Yeah, I'm
tonight,
really
man.
confused
Yeah,
who
let's
you're
go.
talking about here, Dan.
Hey, we're just here to give you an early Christmas present here. Come on.
That's it.
Nice. So, on Winnie Radio, the Killingly Business Association, the Woodstock Business Association, and the Putnam Business Association, I think even Plainfield, all advertise on the radio. They've got great commercials, and they're all doing really good things in their town. So we're trying to bring more businesses to town. We're working on this marketing package, and I just think it makes a lot of sense. So I'm asking for money from the EDC budget to help the TBA be able to put these ads on the radio. And the Killingly Business Association is a $5,000 a year line item on the, I don't know if it's through EDC or just directly on the town's budget. And the PBA, I went and asked Karen when I was at an event if they got any money, if the PBA got money from the town, and she said no, because they don't ask, because the town supports them in so many other ways, like
Right.
police services and EMS and the using the parks and all that stuff for all the events they do. So they don't ask for any money. The Woodstock Business Association doesn't get any money from the town, but they do advertising on the radio as well, just not as much. So my ask is for $3,100, and I did this back in July, so I'd probably have to go back through the whole thing and make sure everything is up to date and whatever. But it's, excuse me, because again, I did this back in July. But
Is that just advertising, Dan?
yes,
Okay.
so at the TBA right now, all we do is the business spotlight. So we go on the radio once a month for about 15 to 20 minutes. We bring 2 of our members on with us each month, and we pay $90 a month to do that. And it's $1,080 per year. The Woodstock Business Association does 16 30-second ads per month, 8 in the morning and 8 in the evening drive. And the business spotlight once a month, and that costs them $190 per month or $22.80 per year. KBA runs 35 ads a month, 30-second ads, and they go on the radio every week. So they spend $4,600, $4,680 a month with Winnie. Karen said we couldn't go on every week because there's not enough. They don't have enough availability for that anyway. But I don't know. We managed to get 2 people to go every month, but I think we would struggle if we tried to go every week anyway.
Weren't you
And
just
so,
weren't you just on Winnie the other day or last week?
yeah, this Tuesday, yesterday.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
The third Tuesday of the month.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, Dan, if you're done, I don't want to interrupt you. Are you complete?
I was just gonna say the total amount we would need is $4,680. Forget what again, I apologize. I need to go through this, but I
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll jump in. What
Okay.
I'll say in response to that. Obviously, we want to be supportive, and Tira can say from one side or the other with the town whether or not it's allowed or not or what have you. But we don't have to talk about that right now. What's in my mind is I would like to get together with the group of you on Friday, right?
Which we are doing.
Which we're doing, or at least for a portion of us is meeting Friday. I would like to know and discuss our marketing strategy, everything that's behind the data that you guys have collected over the past year, review that, understand our financial commitments to further progress that, whatever that becomes.
Mhm.
And then also a part of the marketing strategy is everything you just outlined, Dan, right?
Okay.
And then put together like a spreadsheet, understand it, and execute on that plan, right? So that's what I would like to see happen. Just so we complete the circle, we have a strategy, we move forward with that strategy. And I'll use the word, obviously, we want to be putting things on the air, right? And getting that out and being supportive in that way. Because I think that's probably one of the key factors of getting people's ear and getting people into town is by the radio, right? And supporting that. So I'll leave it at that. I hope that's okay. That's my opinion. And then we can move to vote on it and, at the next meeting and execute on that. Your request tonight, is there some sort of urgency, just so I understand? Is there some sort of deadline, or can it wait to the next meeting, I guess?
It can definitely wait till the next meeting.
Okay.
My main reason for wanting to get it out, like I said, I first presented it in July, and we haven't had a meeting where everybody's been here.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get it out to you guys and judge, what you guys thought of it. We all know the Putnam Business Association kicks ass. But Killingly has been really coming up. I mean, they're up. I just heard the other day, they're up to 140 members. And they're blasting on the radio. Like I said, they're doing 35 ads a month. So,
So can I ask you a question, Dan?
Sure.
So, I mean, as you guys know, right, one of my prior careers before I McJobbed and then before I came here was actually working in radio. Now it was public radio. We didn't do advertisements per se, but we did do underwriting spots, which to the average listener, they wouldn't know the difference. So my question for you, Dan, is what do you envision? What would you envision TBA advertising to sound like? Is it just a rotating roster of your members' businesses and essentially they get a little commercial? Who's writing the copy? Because what I'm thinking just from this, and I know you've mentioned this a couple of weeks in a row, is that as you pointed out, you struggle a little bit to get people to do the live segment every month, right? 2 people on the air once a month.
Yep.
And the membership thus far has been a very limited pool of your 71 members who actually come to the meetings and are active participants.
Yep.
So what I'm thinking is that if EDC is going to help TBA bankroll a radio advertisement campaign, I mean, if EDC is going to help TBA, uh, then somehow it has to wrap together.
Yeah.
Like what are the economic development projects? And I'm not sure what that is either. But if you're talking about, regular 30-second spots, you've got to give some thought to what that content is, especially
Yep.
if you had trouble pulling your membership in to talk about themselves, as a feature once a month.
Right. Well, the way like the Woodstock Business Association is um I think what Killingly was too. I heard their newer commercial, and I can't remember if it included any of their business names. But what Karen explained to me was the way they do that is it's like a commercial about the town, the business association, whatever, and then join fellow businesses like DBC Solutions, B Clef Music, and they put like 3 businesses each month, but we don't have to do any of that. They do that. Like Winnie does all of that. They would just each I think they rotate them on a weekly basis, but they take care of that. So we would have to come up with the initial commercial. I mean, they'll even write it and record it for us if we ask them to, free of charge. But I don't know. I like writing my own commercials, so I would definitely want to put some thought into it. And I think it should be definitely more than just TBA and our members. It's got to tie into the whole what we're doing here in Thompson. And also, Thompson's different than Putnam and Killingly. We don't have a downtown. Like the new KBA commercial is about shop local, come to the downtown, come see the new coffee shops and stuff like that. We don't have that. So ours has got to be a little bit different. Maybe it's more like highlighting.
Yeah, I was just going to say, can a showcase, once a week or once a month, when you do this, just showcase 1 or 3 businesses in Thompson for that spot. How
Right.
they do that for the kids, and so when they have the kids schools on sports, they usually have a business sponsor it. So why don't we just take 1 or 2 businesses and highlight them? And I think the TBA would appreciate that, because we'd be touting one of your own businesses.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. That is what it is. There's like, it probably only takes like 10, 15 seconds maybe to do like 3 businesses. So there's like a commercial, and then they highlight a few businesses each week.
Okay.
I just remembered that she sent me, I'm trying to look real quick here. Let's see here.
Yeah, if we went that route, we could highlight businesses that aren't actually going to show up at 7:30 in the morning.
Of course.
Uh,
Get their names on the radio, because it's part
Right.
of their dues that they pay, because you guys pay dues.
Yeah, but like Dan said, it's slim pickings, and like Tira said, for the people who actually come to the meeting, and we're asking them in person, do you want the radio spot? And we wouldn't be able to fill the spots, but people like Thompson House of Pizza and Max, and they've been supportive, but they don't come to the meetings. They're just supporting TBA by being members. So we could highlight Milltown Grill and Max and Tom. We would have plenty to talk about if we wrote little things about our businesses.
Killingly Business
Sorry.
Association is growing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to start that. I'll start that after you finish.
I have heard that though, Dan, what you're saying.
Okay. Let me play this one.
The Killingly Business Association is growing with more members and more activities to promote the wonderful things happening in Killingly. Are you a member yet? If not, join them as they work together to support and grow local business. Participating members include
Remax Bell Park Realty, the Golden Greek Restaurant, First Casualty Insurance, Companion Veterinary Health Center, Shabbat and Associates Real Estate Group of EXP, Danielson Surplus Sales, and the Last Green Valley.
See the Killingly Business Association online at killinglyba.org and be sure to like them on Facebook.
With all this being said, I do like the thought behind Brian Santos' comments in that
Yes.
we know what you're asking, but sitting down and figuring out this marketing and then maybe we say, all right, we can go 1,500 to a TBA. Maybe we say TBA should come up with some of their own money instead of it all going to say Weekend Warriors. I mean, there's a
Mhm.
lot of different ways to sit down and talk about this,
So not,
but I
not for
I
nothing.
like having Santos here because he's always got some level-headed comments.
And I don't mean to be the roadblock either, because I know I missed the whole presentation.
But I don't think of it as a roadblock,
No,
Brad.
not at all.
Yeah.
So
No, I
not,
don't-
not
I
for
think that's-
nothing, but the purpose of the meeting on Friday is actually to decide on the RFP
Right.
for the continuation of the marketing plan, which, by the way, I think could include, a, you know, design of a radio campaign as a component, right?
Yes.
And
Yep.
that might be a way to expand to extend the reach of your existing budget. But the purpose of the Friday meeting
Yeah, it's
is
to focus on that marketing.
less to discuss the marketing materials and playbook that we have received, and more to discuss how we are creating an RFP for a vendor to actually undertake those activities for us.
Yes.
Doesn't the Friday meeting have to be published and go through the procedures of a regular meeting then?
It's a good point. I can publish an agenda tomorrow. That'd be fine.
Okay, I just know that
It'd be a
very
special meeting,
least,
so you'd,
it's like
Great,
three
great
members,
point.
they're
Great
gonna
point.
be there, and that
Great
makes it a meeting.
yeah, you're absolutely right. So, I will, when I download the Zoom recording to send to Lynn, for the minutes, I will also create an agenda for a special meeting and post it. How's that?
Need a quorum for that special meeting?
We're not
Uh,
gonna vote on anything, though.
Because I hadn't planned on attending, and so I don't know if you could need a quorum. If
We're
I
not
thought
gonna-
it was just a special
we're not
meeting between a
voting.
couple of
Yeah, we're not
members.
gonna,
That's,
Joe, we're not gonna be voting, so no, we don't need a quorum.
oh,
This is
okay.
this is a sub group of our group, so we should be fine.
I think technically you
right.
can call it an ad hoc group and then you don't actually need to notice, but
I
we'll
don't think we
consider,
need the notice at all,
we'll-
but
we'll consider it
Yeah.
a special meeting and I'll create a notice for
Yeah,
it tomorrow.
it's fine. Let's just be safe about it.
yeah,
Afraid of-
yeah, it's just since we're gonna present everything to EDC, it's not in secret, it's just I consider it a planning, a discussion meeting, but whatever you think is safe, I'm okay. I'm just more simple.
Yeah, so and I like to, I guess, finish answering your question, Brian. No, I'm not in a rush. I just wanted to get the idea out there, let everybody know about it. And if you guys choose that we just EDC just advertises instead, that's cool too. I just think I just feel like we should come up to our neighbors, like everybody's doing it. You know what I just remember too is even Webster Dudley Business Alliance, they're advertising on 99.3 QVR now, which I think I'm going to start doing as well. But yeah, everybody all around us is advertising on the radio. Get more businesses, support your businesses in town. So I feel like we should come up to speed with our neighbors.
Yeah, if nothing else, we should have the discussion, so there's nothing wrong with that.
all I got.
All right, well, no, that's good. Like Dan said, we haven't had a full crew, and even today we're missing Charlie. So we haven't had a full crew in quite a while. So he wanted to present the whole thing just so it's in everybody's mind. Okay, I don't have anything else for business updates, nothing I can think of. Old business, we still have an open slot for an EDC alternate, which we do bring up at the TBA meetings. Brian Santos and I both got sworn in and reappointed for duty. Yay.
Thank you for your service.
What's up?
I believe
Joe-
she was thanking you for your service.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's all temporary, Joe, since 2009, right, Bray?
Yeah. I hear you.
Speaking of businesses in town, you should all make a point of visiting, even though it's not in town. Joanne is in town, and she is a booth holder at Antiques Marketplace. I
Oh,
ran into her there over the weekend.
Yeah, that was fun, but that's in Putnam, so you know.
Yes, but you are from Thompson, so it's fair game.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you. Thank
yeah,
you,
we're
thank you.
okay supporting Joanne.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Well, I didn't see on the agenda where you want me to discuss the commercial and residential properties for sale. Is that should I just mention those under comments?
Yeah,
like
under the progress reports. I
Okay.
thought of it, and I know we talked about you presenting. I didn't make it a separate line item. I just figured we'll go under that.
Gotcha.
And we could still talk about, I don't mind adding a separate line item. But okay.
Well, no, it'd be good for next time. We can just say, you know, active commercial and residential listings in Thompson, and just keep it at that. We can talk. I can cover it once a month.
Okay, so we're up to progress reports, and we have our grant applications update here. I don't know, do you have anything, Jim?
Well, yeah, so I don't have any applications out per se at the moment, although possibly, well, not possibly, almost certainly Janet Blanchett and I will be working Eastern Connecticut Conservation District on a CT Deep grant for stormwater management related to the Main Street activities. You would have seen some of that when we went to when we had the presentation last week. Thank you, by the way, for those of you who made it last week. It ended up being surprisingly successful on a night when the library was closed.
Yeah.
But we still had, I thought, a good turnout in the room and online. Obviously, that presentation was related to the funding that will be forthcoming from the SIF grant. I still do not have a project manager assigned, so we don't have an assistance agreement yet. As soon as I get that puppy in my hands, I'm going to sign it for sure. So obviously that's the 4 million, that's the big one. The wheel ratcheted forward a little bit on the Brownfield grant. Again, we're just about done redrafting the agreement, not as a pass-through to the developer, but as a direct award to the municipality to start the soils remediation. I was at a Brownfield conference last Friday. I had some back and forth with DEPD this week. John Gumpert actually came into my office the other day. He was passing through. He remains confident that they're going to start any minute now. He is thinking we're going to get started in 2025 on that cleanup. I admire his optimism, but I think we will get started in 25.
Great.
So, you know, those are the two biggest grants, the 4 million and the 2 million. The construction at Trainwreck Park continues. They're going to keep going with that site work until weather really shuts them down. And then they'll be back as soon as the weather breaks in the spring. Their contract is such that they effectively have till the end of June 2025 to complete all that work. But it's actually a 3-year grant contract, so even if they don't finish then, it'll still be well within the performance period. The USDA UAIP planning grant is in that final stage of writing the master plan. I will say I have not been doing it quickly. I have been working on the business plan with the consultant from the Connecticut Small Business Development Center. We've had a couple of very productive conference calls. I am waiting on components from other project partners. J&D did a survey of the land, the Riverside parcel on back of 65, so that an actual site plan for the permaculture park can be developed. We're essentially through with the renovation money from the first federal grant from US SBA. And we have additional renovation money bundled into the SIF grant. So there's kind of a pin in that. We do have some non-grant related local funds from the various crowd funds and other random sources that are going to support a little more work, but the major renovations won't be able to start until the SIF grant is finalized. And we're going to have to work that calendar out in terms of the activities related to the reconstruction of Main Street and the ongoing renovation of the building. The Congress again passed a continuing resolution on the federal budget. That is related to that $730,000 that we were approved for by Courtney's office, but that has to pass through Congress. So an unfortunate fallout from national elections is, I would say we have to treat that $730,000 as likely not to come to us. It's exactly the kind of thing that's likely to be peeled out of a budget with the incoming Congress. I'll be happy if I'm wrong. But that was also money that was going to go into the construction of that park and in renovations for the building at 65. So I will cross that bridge when I get to it, one way or another, when a final budget is passed. But I'm not super optimistic about receiving those funds at this point. What else? What else grant related? I mean, I think that's it for grant related updates. Everything's just kind of happening in ways that aren't super visible, but they are happening. The most visible thing is what's going on at Trainwreck Park. I mean, that the trees are all down over there. I think the grading has probably started.
I haven't been by there lately to see what's going on.
Well, there's a lot fewer trees.
On the budget issue, I don't know if you were following today, but apparently the budget compromises were rejected, and we're back to where the government might not even be staying open because the coming powers have decided they don't want to be spending a lot of the money that has been proposed.
Yeah, well, I mean, this isn't the first time this has happened, but in this case, the continuing resolution has a direct effect on this community. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. They have until the end of March to pass a final budget one way or the other.
Well, you know, we are up to 36 trillion in debt, so good idea to do something. Okay. The marketing plan, as you know, we were going to do a subgroup and get together and talk about the RFP, RFQ, to figure out what we need to do and to give a plan to prospective marketing companies, even if it's DKA again. And everyone has been so busy, we haven't been able to get together, and that will happen Friday at 10 o'clock now. So unfortunately, it's after this meeting, but we'll have something to say for the January meeting. Joanne was going to start reporting on real estate listings, and that came from that shortened plan that I presented in October, things that we could do short term or big bang for the buck, or things we could do that would cost no money or little money to get a better handle on economic development in the town. So, Joe, do you have that?
Yes, I do. As of today, and whenever I present a report like this, I will do it the morning of the meeting so we have a up-to-date listings. There are 9 commercial properties presently listed. 4 of them are just rentals. 5 of them are buildings or property for sale. And every one of them is on Riverside Drive. So that tells you that Riverside Drive is the road that everybody wants to or should be on for commercial property. And there are also 2 businesses that were currently on the market that are now under contract. Those are both sales. And the ones that are under contract is the property at 1020 Riverside Drive.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I can't think of what the business. There was a bunch of different businesses in there. My father's table. No, is that there?
Well, yeah,
It was there,
it was
yeah.
there, but it's been
It was.
closed for a while, yeah.
Dance studio, and then, so that property has been for sale for quite a while. That's under contract. And there's also that little commercial building over on Riverside Drive, over not just a few doors down from Riverside Pizza. That little white concrete building, that's finally under contract as well.
Yeah,
And that's the one that's going to be the used car place, right?
Oh yeah,
Burritt from Pit Stop.
yeah. So, well, there's 2 things there. Yes, that used car shop in 372 Riverside Drive, which is that
that's it.
a few owners have gone through there randomly, but Sylvie and Jared Hanshaw came in the P&Z the other night to get approval for a change in use. They are Main Street Gelato in Putnam.
Oh,
They
no
have
kidding.
since closed Main Street Gelato because they had a water and sewer bust over there.
Yeah.
So they're now closing that, and they're going to renovate and move into 372 Riverside Drive.
That's
and
awesome.
expand
Good news.
on gelato and maybe do sandwiches and stuff. So
Great.
I'm super excited about that one.
So then that's not the car repair then.
No, it literally is down. It's a stone's throw from the car repair place.
Yeah, it's catty cornered from that.
The car repair was a DNR tire masonry.
Right.
Correct.
Yes, that building. That's correct. So the other remaining commercial buildings. I mean, if you want, I can just go through. I can just go through them. Hang on. Let's see. There's one on 423 Riverside Drive is used to be the daycare. It's right by where the entrance of the condo is.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's for sale. Big commercial building there.
Yeah.
The other one I talked about last month, the restaurant Crossroads, not the business, just the building, and that's still for sale. But that's the only other business that's not on Riverside Drive, I might add. Then the building next to Thompson Riverside Pizza is that big building that he built he was going to put his growing center there, something that's still for sale. That's for sale, and also, excuse me for 1 second. Riverside Drive, 139 Riverside Drive, G7 sale. So that's pretty much all the commercial buildings that are available for sale.
Oh, it's good to know. I think that'll be a good update, Joe. So we know what's going on in case somebody does contact us about coming into
right.
town.
So I'm just going to spitball this too, since we've been talking about marketing and advertising and what would the content be on something. That occurs to me as something where uh some combination of TBA, EDC could be offering um support through airtime, funded airtime on those commercial properties.
Hmm.
I would think that many of the brokers handling these properties would be happy to have an extra juice boost, highlighting a featured property. So this is me just spitballing. There might be too many moving parts to that. Real estate might be too volatile. I don't
Yeah.
know, but just as something to keep in mind as to when we're discussing this with a future consultant.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends what it is. I mean, as far as volatility, um, the what do you call it? The pub there across from the Thompson Mill is still for sale. It's been for sale for a long time. Drafters.
Oh,
So they
yes.
could benefit by that, if they wanted to. I mean, and so is that building, Jan's building that was going to be the pot shop has been for sale for a long time.
That's the one I mentioned is
Right.
1.5 million.
Well, I'm just talking about volatility where they have been on the market for a while, and there would be time for somebody representing that property to do a spot like Tara suggested, just something to talk about. And fill our spots.
We should be advertising real estate on our business spot on the radio because they're two different things.
Well, it's still part of economic development.
I
Well,
totally.
that's why I'm saying I'm just spitballing it, Joanne. Like, if it's a joint campaign between Thompson Business Association and EDC, especially if Thompson Business Association might need a little boost to get their membership to see the value, um, just to maximize the effect of whatever radio campaign advertising dollars go in. And advertising is not my specialty per se. I mean, I am on the marketing committee for the tourism district, and I've done underwriting spots, written and recorded them from my time in radio, but none of those things are direct analogies.
Well,
Okay.
also, if you wanted me to mention just real quickly, the residential properties are a bit different than the commercial. However, there's 13 residential properties listed for sale currently. 3 of those are condos. 1 is a mobile home, and the remaining 9 are houses ranging from $200,000 to $600,000.
I think that's great data, Joe, and I think there's definitely a marketing strategy around that data that I think we need to incorporate into, Friday's discussion and further discussions for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of how do we get people into town? Yes, we have commercial buildings available. Yes, there is some housing. It's not as much as we like. It'll help when St. Joe's is up and running and when the mill, we finally see something in the mill. But for now, it'd be nice, to let people know if they're interested in coming in, there's a place for them.
We do have a
So, yeah.
partial update on St. Joe's as well.
Okay,
Because I had invited that developer to attend the presentation last week, which he did online. Um, uh, uh, our town attorney and I are working on his tax incentive assessment agreement again. But the developer confirmed with me via email last week that they have actually gone out to bid on that construction. They did receive one bid. It was higher than their targeted rate, so they're going back out. But they are actively looking to engage a contractor.
all right, well, that's good. Okay, and another thing that we were going to look at, last month we touched on adoption of trade names and home occupation permits. And I was gonna look a little bit more into what's going on the last few years in town, just as a point of data. It doesn't have to mean a lot, but I went back to 2015. And we had 20 new adoption of trade names in 2015. 26 the following year, 22, 25, 21. We hit a high of 32 in 2021, and I expect things were funny during COVID. And then we dropped off to 21. Last year we had 30. This year only 17. So since 2015, from what I can gather, and I have some data missing, 229 new adoption of trade name certs. Another 17 home occupation permits. And then I was going through and trying to figure out, and this will take some digging, how many have dropped off. I know 8 for sure are not in business any longer. I'm sure there's more than that. I'd have to do a lot of digging to research 229, well, 236, 246 businesses. But I mean, that's something we'd want to increase. This year we're pretty much half of what we were last year. Don't know what's driving that, whether it's the economy or lack of space or lack of interest in Thompson, or maybe we're not promoting ourselves well enough to the outside world. But that's where it stands. The best update I have for right now. Yeah, there's not a whole lot more that we can do until we get together on Friday and sort out some more of the marketing plan. I'm okay, unless somebody has suggestions, I'm okay with taking that up again in January. In the new year. Any comments? No? Dan shaking his head, Brian's watching the game. Is there a game?
No, to be fair, Colleen just came home and I was reading her.
Oh, tell her we said hi.
Don't forget to stop by Town Hall with toys tomorrow. I'm taking them to Willimantic for Toys for Tots on Friday.
It's another thing on the list here. So we okay with furthering discussion, putting it off till January, the rest of the marketing?
Makes sense.
Okay. So down here, I have Winter Festival outcome. Since I missed it all because I had another engagement, I know we didn't have the horse for the wagon. I know some of the businesses dropped out because Originally, we thought they were going to be inside. And I know we moved the businesses from the street to around the library, but, and the tree auction went well, I hear, but I don't know, Tira or anybody, do you have any specifics to report?
I also did not attend. I had other plans that night anyway. I was going to shoot by early and I never made it over there. Renee and Leave and See and I have discussed this event a little bit in the background at work. I don't want to go too much into this. I will say that if this event is going to continue, the level and type of organization that needs to occur around it has to be much better. Much, much, much better. I will be the first to admit I was pleasantly surprised last year by it because I was dreading every second of that event. And when I went last year, I actually, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. It was nicely busy. People seemed happy. Um, but my big problem is that if you are going to promise something like a horse and carriage ride, like vendors, like whatever it is you're promising, you have to deliver it.
Yeah.
And that is an organizational problem.
Yeah, I agree. I was surprised and happy last year. A couple of things. We are going to have a wrap up kind of meeting soon. I talked to Leave and See about it. One suggestion might be to have the bonfire and the winter festival on two different nights, which makes sense on one level. So you're not splitting it up and hoping that people go from one venue to the other. Another thing that really gripes me is every time we sit down for a meeting, we're told what we cannot do with the library or with the community center. I think that has to change. We don't have a better,
I'm totally with you on that, Yacino. 100%.
yeah, it's just awful. That's all we talk about is what we can't do. So that severely restricts us and we end up not doing planning that we should do because we're talking about what we can't do and how do we get around it. So see what we can do with that. And I don't know if we have to involve selectmen's office. I don't know what to do. I mentioned it to Leave and See because it just burns me.
Well, I was there, but early because I was volunteering with animal control and the little pictures they were doing outside. And
Oh, yeah.
it was cold, and the couple of vendors that got there early and were setting up, I mean, they were freezing, and there was no one there at that time. Animal control left around, and I left around 3:34, which was after the event started, and there was very little traffic at that time. And yeah, it was kind of weird because I've never done this before, having something at the library, but setting up for a bonfire someplace else.
Right.
And there was a food vendor there, but he wasn't going to be set up to sell for a little bit. So even those of us who were on the premises that might have bought from them couldn't because they weren't open yet. And Max came to set up, but then they went off to where the bonfire was. So they weren't at the library where everyone was at that time. It just seemed disjointed to me, but again, it was my first time. I wasn't there to see what kind of turnout there was later. And if things got a little smoother, the trees had a nice little presentation. Of course, Trails had their tree there, and Renee set up the one for the Thompson Democrats, and Sandy,
TBA set one up.
Andy was working hard there.
Tira did.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, Amanda was working very hard. The effort was put in, but yeah, I agree with the organization thing when I heard that the horses weren't going to be there. And, that's one of the big things people like to do at a bonfire, a winter bonfire is, and I agree, if you're going to promise something like that, you have to deliver on something like that, because that's your entertainment. Okay, you're going to light a bunch of pallets on fire. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, and I
Yeah,
also
that's
think
why,
timing might be good before Christmas, but only if there's the vendors and we're treating the vendors right, not having them freeze to death. But I also think it kind of conflicts with what else is going on with recreation to plan all that coming out of Turkey Trot and doing. I mean, they suddenly have a lot of things condensed into a month or two, and I don't know that they have the ability, the bandwidth to properly organize all that.
yeah, yeah, last year, you talk about the bonfire, and we had the vendors in the street, and then, Levency and Amanda were thinking of a natural progression. You have stuff at the library, you had Santa, you had the trees, oh, and then go into the street for the vendors. And while you're there, you go down the road to the pond where Dan was serving up hot chocolate for TBA. We had Max Catering, we had the bonfire. This year it changed. You didn't really have that intermediate vendor group because they get moved to the library. And that's why the thought of having, say, bonfire on Friday, winter festival on another day, even if it is Saturday, people can pick what they want and you're not spreading the crowd too thin. They'll choose what they want and attend it, hopefully. But that horse thing that was really popular last year, and even that had to be cut short because the driver got sick.
It's hard to split it up though, because now you're asking the, say, recreation department to have to do two after work or on weekend events, which are outside their normal hours and back-to-back days, and it's kind of hard to pull off because you're pushing your volunteers to do more and
So,
more.
Yeah, but they would be more
the discussion
restricted
on
in the scope.
the discussion on how to improve this event is really sort of outside the scope of EDC. It's really the responsibility of the organizers, which is Thompson Recreation. And I know TBA has been involved, but I would say that it is a recreation event. And there is this little committee that plans it, which is all fine. Um, and not to flog this horse that didn't show up. But with any high quality annual event, the planning occurs all year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it is establishing your parameters at the first meeting and then not deviating from them, right? And getting all of those boring things, contracts, agreements, right? Commitments that can't be broken in place. So then you can spend the time as you get closer to the event doing the fluffy things like who's going to do the decorating. Event planning, it's not just the fun of the event, it's the boring crap that happens in all of the months ahead of time. And that is where the event was not great. Every time the group met, the parameters were different.
yeah,
But, that's not on this commission. It's not your responsibility. It's not your baby. Obviously, events tie into economic development because it's a part about giving people a good experience when they visit. But those decisions have to come through the Recreation Commission.
oh yeah, we can't make decisions
Agreed.
on it, but
It was just the question was out there. How did it go? And
yeah,
so
yeah, it was mainly to be an update because it does concern TBA and EDC and benefits the town if it goes well. But yeah, we'll have more. We can do more updating once the post-mortem has been accomplished. Brian, I did last month. I had an item for Turkey Trot update,
Mhm.
and you weren't here. So if you'd like to do that now,
Yeah, I didn't see it on the agenda, but I saw it was tabled last month. So yeah, I mean, I can give you a couple minutes. It's nothing really that most of you don't already know, as Jason listened to the Trails Committee minutes and pretty much almost published everything I said word for word, unfortunately, without some details that didn't necessarily be aired in public. Overall, again, what I said there, I will repeat. I think it was an excellent event this year. The main thing that was great was the weather, and that drew out the biggest participation numbers since 2016. The downside was that I wasn't able to raise additional sponsorships this year because of sponsorships I lost. And I still don't have a final number on that. I'm still hoping to be $200 or $300 ahead of last year, which would put us in the low 16,000s with the input from registrations via RaceWire and MyRec. We're looking at about $5,700 for each of the three organizations. Still looking, as I mentioned at that meeting, for little ways to save a little more money. We've decided that cutting back on things like t-shirts is not a good idea because it's a promotional thing. We get our name out there, people wear them. I used to see people wear them into Walmart shopping, so they serve their purpose. But there is a new timing organization. Well, not new, they've been doing it for a while, but they're based out of Connecticut. He actually lives in Griswold, and he wants to talk to us, and his price structure might save us about $400 or $500 from RaceWire. So anything we can save is a good idea. I don't know how much more we can save. We're very bare bones as it is. I think we need much more of an effort to recruit some new sponsors this year, especially out of town, because I'm just seeing some of the sponsors that pulled back a little bit are also sponsoring multiple events. Even just today, seeing Claris getting sponsorships for the basketball game presentations, and two of their sponsors, one had cut their sponsorship to Turkey Trot in half, and the other one didn't participate with Turkey Trot this year. So I really think we're pushing some of the local businesses too hard to too many events, and they have to make choices. And maybe they're gonna do it every other year or every third year, or cut back, or just have to start saying no. So hopefully there's some resources maybe outside of the town limits, since a lot of our runners come from neighboring towns. They come from all over the state. Obviously my ultimate goal was to get 20,000 in sponsorships. That may not be achievable. I don't know, maybe we are at our limit, but I've never had less. So I'm still very proud of what the committee has done in putting on the event. Very pleased that the sponsors that we have stayed with us, and even Dan and Brian, the TBA sponsoring in addition to individual members sponsoring. I mean, that's almost a double dipping there, and that's really super that some of those folks do that. We're having our wrap-up meeting dinner. I take the committee out to dinner. That's my new thing. I've done it. This will be the third year. And we're doing that at Milltown tomorrow. So we'll have a little more discussion. I'm just hoping we can get into the new year a little sooner. And almost every year there's been some kind of hiccup, whether it's been a change of our recreation director, but Levency's been there now for 3 years. But 2 of these 3 years, it's been an issue with Amanda first having the baby 1 year, and her several health issues that she's had this year. And that is really, sometimes I get a little frustrated with Levency not doing some of the things I hope he would do in a timely fashion. But I also fully understand that his hands have been tied by not having Amanda there when he's needed her. Just happens to be before this event for a couple of years. So I did do more stuff that he would normally do this year to give him some support, and that's fine. I just don't want to, of course, have to do that every year. They're the ones getting paid to do some of this job, so I do want their contribution. Otherwise, that I know they've done what they can. I'm just hoping circumstances are better next year to maybe get that expansion. But the event went off smoothly regardless of that. We got everything we needed to do. We got it done on time. Couple little things might have slipped through the cracks that no one else would notice, but I did. So overall, I'm still very happy that this event has improved every year. I still think it can get bigger. We have more room to get more runners. I'd still like to reach out and get more people from our neighboring towns, because we get them in Connecticut, but we get very little participation from Webster, Dudley, Southbridge, Burrillville. These are all, all these neighboring towns that are as close to us as Woodstock and Putnam is. They're just across state lines.
Yeah, but I do want to say, even if you're a little disappointed with the sponsors where some didn't come through and everything, I have to say, I don't think you could have done any more. You worked so hard for that, to get the sponsors and maintain the sponsors. I wouldn't feel bad about it. Like you said, people are just burdened and trying to do as much as they can with what they have.
Well, yeah, I mean, I truly understand, again, having worked for Walmart and known how many people would come in on a daily basis asking for money for this and money for that. And you just got to prioritize and say no. But I also feel like it's my job to do better every year. And so I'm hard on myself because I want to be successful for our organizations. Trails depends on it. Recreation gets help from it. It's probably a very small part based on their annual report of what Teague gets, but it's beneficial to the community, and I feel a responsibility to do my best to achieve that.
Okay. Do we have anything for citizen? Well, we have no citizens, so we're good. Comments by commission members and items for next agenda. Anything specific, guys? We will have more to talk about for marketing next month, and we'll continue with the real estate update. See what else we can come up with. I mean, if nobody has any comments, are we good?
We should continue conversation on advertising. I mean, I think you're already on that, but I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Somebody
Brian-
was just saying something. Oh, there you go. Lynn was.
Yeah, sorry. So the meeting that you're having on Friday is being billed as a special meeting. Does it need notes taken?
I'll do it, Lynn. 'Cause I know you work during the day. I'll take care of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say either that, Tara, or I'm happy to do them with if you can do a recording of some sort, or is this just in person?
This one will happen to be just in person.
Okay, okay,
And the minutes will be minimal because it's going to be one topic
okay,
and action's going to be taken. So I'll publish some cursory minutes to satisfy the legal requirement.
okay, thank you.
I think if you do the AI companion, I saw you turn that on tonight. Have you checked it out yet?
It works better for these meetings, for the
Oh.
all online meetings. I
Right.
actually tried to use it for I tried to use it for the P and Z meeting so that I could give something to the recording secretary to help him sort out. But when we have the planning and zoning meetings, it's one ambient mic. So
Right.
all of the commentary says PZ. So the thing that it would be most helpful for him, like who the speakers are, it's useless for that. So, but for this meeting, it actually would be fine. But
Right.
we're not doing it virtually on Friday, so
Yeah.
I have it as a tool.
Yeah, actually, Tara, the minutes that you sent forwarded last month with the recording, I used those for little bits and pieces of the minutes I do, so I was happy to have that.
Well, I did turn it on, so if it creates that, I will keep forwarding those to you, Lynn, to make your job easier. Happy to do that.
Thank you.
Just real quick on that. I don't mean to belabor the conversation. I've been paying very close attention to AI companion stuff in my company. And just make sure that when you share the summary, it only goes to the host. Because one thing I found out with AI companion, if you're like I do a lot of state work, it sometimes will just have errors in facts. The tone is wrong. Sometimes the way people talk
Oh yeah.
just looks very negative. So just be aware of that.
Oh, I would never use it as a direct to minutes.
Oh, I understand. I'm just making you aware of how it reads people sometimes, right?
Mhm.
And just be careful of that.
Glad I don't use it.
Yeah, it's AI in my company is absolutely massive right now, trying to understand it.
Mm. Yeah, it's the future. It's crazy.
Yeah, good luck with that, you future people.
Oh my God, I'm ready to stab myself in the neck sometimes with some stuff. Crazy.
Yeah, I have to say I would never use it for anything I considered truly important. But for essentially a clerical task like this, as long as the person doing the final transcription understands they still have to read it, which obviously Lynn does, and obviously I would if I were making minutes. Yeah, I used it to record a conference call that Janet and I had talking about that CT Deep stormwater management grant, and it got some facts exactly wrong. And if you were reading it casually, you would never know.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah, again, if we're good, that's it for comments. See some of you on Friday, and next meeting is January 15th. Same time, same place. If we're okay, we can adjourn at 7:43.
Have a good night. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. If I don't see or speak to you peoples.
Don't forget your toys on Friday.
Okay,
Merry
Tara.
Christmas,
Night,
everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All of